Welcome back to the 25 Days of Flows, the Power Automate Advent Calendar. We are more than halfway through these 25 days. I can't believe that already 15 days have gone by and we have 10 days left. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? So yesterday I was a little bit late, but you did get a really cool flow that helped you compare two spreadsheets and return back the variance in an HTML table. That was fun because we covered things like using array variables and select actions, as well as comparisons using entire arrays as the condition. And then finally, we learned how to append to an array variable and get that information back in an HTML table, or we could have used it for any type of process continuation. So yesterday was fun. Today, we're going to do something entirely different. We're going to leverage a Bing Map connector. And in this particular case, there's two reasons why I'm doing this. One is that Bing Maps is a huge tool for helping you with analytics. If you can plot spatial information and layer it on top of your data, you can actually leverage Esri maps in Power BI. And Esri maps are huge because they give you demographics and other type of related data to help you learn more about what's happening around your spatial coordinates. Lots of opportunity when you talk about using Esri, but you need to be able to add those spatial coordinates. And so it's great to get to know Bing Maps. It also is an awesome tool for routing people. So if you have frontline workers that need to be routed from place to place, whether they're on a truck or a bicycle or on foot, Bing Maps can help them. Also, thirdly, it's a great tool for just keeping track of yourself, right? How can you send your location to your children in case you just want them to know where you are, or vice versa? So it's a huge tool. Yet, I'm surprised to say not a lot of people are using the template, and those who are not successfully completing a flow. So basically, we've learned this by studying what's happening in our environment. And I wanted to give some extra detail today on how you can get started using this without any problems. Now we're going to start first by just our regular, here's the connector we're going to use today. It's Bing. And you're going to be able to find out if you'll be late for that conference session. So you're planning to get to session number 3 today at the next conference, and you've only got 30 minutes to get there. You want to use Flow to help you know, am I going to be late? You can just type 30 into a button, and then that button will say, okay, this is how long it's going to take you. Either you're going to make it or you're not, okay? So let's go look at this in Flow. So we're going to start in the templates. I'd like you to know that if you just put Bing on the top as part of your search, you will see the various Bing templates we have. For instance, I mentioned sending your current location to somebody. We already have that. We have Bing News. We have track and analyze, post. When an opportunity is won, put it on Yammer. So let me just see if I hit, because those two don't have Bing in it. Nope, but they must be coming up in some way. This one I don't think has Bing in it. Oh, it has some analytics search. It has Bing search in it. So Bing has lots of different things we can use. There's search, and then there's maps, and I think there's news. So we got quite a few little tools for Bing. But today we're going to use the mapping. So we're going to use this very first one here, which is notify me when traffic clears up for my daily commute. And what this does is the flow template allows you to check on your commute time at the press of a button. If your commute time is below the threshold that you give it, you will receive a push notification reminding you about the same. So let's go ahead and click continue. Now, before I click continue, I'm sorry, I forgot something important. One of the reasons why I think some people may be having trouble with the Bing Map templates, or the Bing templates in general, is that when they get to this page, they do not have a connection. And normally when you don't have a connection, and like maybe you're connecting to Office 365, you basically click here and then in 2 or 3 clicks, you're done because it's just going to ask you to authenticate. But with the Bing map, you actually have to have a connection name and an API key. Now, the name is up to you. Get me time to arrive. Let's do that. That's what I'm going to name this connection. That's how I'll recognize it. But this API key is going to come from Bing Developer Center. So I will put this link in the description. And basically, it tells you exactly how you can open your own account and get your own keys. That way you can use them in your flows. So if you've been having trouble getting a key, please put that below in the description so we could know what's the problem, because we don't want you to be bottlenecked from using such high value templates. All right. But this is the key page, and it will bring you into Bing Maps. And basically, I don't need to do anything else because I already have an account and I already have a key, and I've had one 2 years now. It doesn't even expire. So you just have to make it once and then you can forget about it, basically, unless they notify you that you need to do something. Okay, so let's go back to Flow. And I already have a connection, so I don't need to add one. But I think that might be the problem. So let me know if you're having trouble creating keys. And then I'm going to come in here and immediately shorten this name. And the reason is because this is going to be a button on my phone. So since this is a button on my phone, I know that there's not enough room for that little circle to hold all these words. So I'm just going to put on it traffic check. And that probably will fit in the button pretty well. All right, so next, let's look at this flow. I think we don't have much to do. Normally with Bing, you basically have some typical asks such as addresses or what they call waypoints. Waypoints are specific to getting routes, okay? So this first thing it asks you is basically how many minutes do you have, right? Let's see, what's the maximum minutes you have before you can miss that conference? And then waypoint 1 is where you are now. Waypoint 2 is where you're going. So I can put Microsoft Executive Briefing Center, Redmond, and I don't even have to know the whole address because this is a company. And then notice that I can avoid highways, tolls, or I can minimize highways and tolls. I want time with traffic, my distance is mile, and my travel mode is driving. So check out all the options you have here so you can basically use any of them. And then basically the only thing you have to do to this template is actually put that waypoint in. So at the end, you actually have these notifications that come to you that tell you how much time you have. So if let's say I put in 30 minutes, if it can get me there in less than 30 minutes, the message I will get is leave now, because the current time is something less than 30 minutes. However, if it's not possible for me to get there in 30 minutes, it will tell me couldn't meet the threshold, leave now for a 38-minute commute, for instance, okay? So basically, it's just taking the minutes and making it into the time it needs to be. So from seconds to minutes, from minutes to hours, and so forth. Minutes in traffic is the travel duration divided by 60. Yeah, so this is just taking like the time that Bing is using and dividing it so that you get the time that makes sense, like in minutes, right? And so it's not a complicated flow, but it does have some math in it. And so you'll run into multiply, add, and divide. And so these are good functions to get used to and to take a look at. One thing I would like you to get in the habit of doing, if you're using advanced functions and you're building for other people, it's a good idea to take that advanced function and copy it and then add it as a comment to the action because they can't see this very well. And so basically you can put your advanced expression there and let them know why this is being used. This is determining the length of time to travel in minutes. And so that way people know, what is this about? Why am I using all these expressions, right? And this is one of my favorite reasons why I like using templates, because you learn from the expressions that are in the template. And so let's just test this guy. And then we can look at what's in the code together. So I'm going to do continue. And then I'm going to max it out, 30 minutes. I got 30 minutes to get to the the executive briefing center. So I'm going to hit run flow, and then off we go. Now notice that all this routing took place in just a second. It was able to look at waypoint 1, get a longitude and a latitude for that from the button, but then it took the address we gave us. It's just determined from miles and seconds. Oh, so that's why we're multiplying by 60, because there's seconds. We need them to be in minutes. And then the travel distance from where I am right now to the executive briefing center is 4.4 miles. Travel is really low right now. And so I believe these are also in seconds. So the travel time is less than what I pressed in there. So I'm going to get this down here. Minutes with traffic's only 8. And so it tells me leave now. Current travel time is 8 minutes. And that's because I live 8 minutes away from the Microsoft Executive Briefing Center. So really interesting flow to use. Everybody needs help with traffic. Of course, these things exist in our cars and so forth. But I think when we try and use flows like this, what you want to remember about why you'd want to do this in flow is if your process is going to change based on where somebody is. So more than how many minutes it takes to get to this conference. What if, because I can't get there in 30 minutes, I'm going to lose this account? So I need to use flow to go find out what's another place I can go to within 30 minutes to drop off this product that I must deliver on time. Or who is the closest maintenance person to me so that my truck on the side of the road can get fixed by the person closest to me. So when you think about those business scenarios, you'll understand why it's good to get to know Bing Maps. It's good to get to know how it works and to work through these expressions so that you can insert them into your business processes and make them more powerful. So again, I wish you happy holidays, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow for the 25 Days of Flows, the Power Automate Advent Calendar, as it continues for the next 10 days. I'll talk to you tomorrow.